Hello, everyone. I'm Hector.
And I'm Vesper. Welcome to this week's Deep Dive.
Today, the architecture of presence.
Reclaiming agency in the machine age.
Okay, let's just take a second. I want you to situate yourself in this specific moment we're all living through. It's February 2026.
A suspended present.
That's the phrase, yeah.
Yeah.
A suspended present. And it's such a weirdly specific feeling, isn't it? If you're walking through a city like Toronto right now or London, you feel it.
Oh, absolutely.
The malls are overflowing with people, new arrivals, students, but it's quiet.
It's a heavy silence.
Yeah.
Almost like a winter coat.
Exactly. It feels crowded yet hollow at the same time. Like society is just holding its breath. You can all sense this.
Yeah.
This wave is coming that we can't quite see it yet.
And that tension, that anxiety, it's radiating out from the tech centers. For places like Stanford, you get this collective feeling that we're all, deer on the tracks.
Right. Staring into the headlights of this massive 1.5 million agent milestone that's just barreling right for us. And that is the vibe check for today. That's the big question for this deep dive. Are we just the deer on the tracks? Because we're going to unpack this huge transition, this shift from the chaotic chatbot era,
Which has been exhausting.
to this new, structured, and honestly kind of intimidating agentic era.
And we have a massive catalyst event to anchor this whole discussion.
Huge news. We're talking about the Sovereign acquisition. The reports are all confirmed now. OpenAI has officially acquired OpenClaw.
Which was, for anyone tracking the repos, formerly known as Moltbook.
Right. And I know usually you hear tech giant buys startup and your eyes just glaze over. It's corporate shuffling. But this isn't that. This is the signal that the ground has actually shifted.
It really is.
So let's unpack the deal because the details are pretty wild. First off, the numbers. OpenClaw was the fastest growing open source AI project in history. We're talking 200,000 GitHub stars.
In 82 days.
82 days. That is not a growth curve. That's a vertical line. And the founder, Peter Steinberger, is now at OpenAI, leading their personal agents division.
But the backstory there, the bidding war, is just as important.
No, it was a battle. You had Zuck at Meta going head-to-head with Sam at OpenAI. And we need to pause here because this wasn't just a fight over some cool new app.
No, this was a fight for what the sources are calling industrial hard power.
Industrial hard power.
Yeah.
That is a weighty phrase. That sounds like we're done playing with toys.
That's exactly it. The industry has realized that vibe coding, just loosely stringing things together with LLMs and hoping it works, that's over. That was the toy phase. Agentic orchestration, the ability for an AI to actually do things on your operating system, that is the new material power.
Okay, so let's clarify that because I think a lot of people hear agent and they just think smarter chatbot.
It's a fundamental difference. A chatbot lives in a browser tab. It's passive. It waits for you. OpenClaw, this new ways, it lives in the wiring of your system.
So it's the difference between texting a friend for advice.
Right.
And giving that friend the keys to your house while you're at work.
Precisely. It's the difference between asking a librarian for a book and having a personal assistant who has already read it, summarized it, and emailed a slide deck to your boss before you woke up.
Okay, that sounds incredibly powerful, but also a little terrifying. I mean, this thing just has free reign.
And that fear is totally valid. But this is where the deal gets really interesting and why analysts are calling it a win for the sixth layer.
The sixth layer.
Think of it like a social contract. If the first 5 layers are the hardware, the code, the interface, the sixth layer is transparency. And despite the acquisition, OpenClaw is becoming an independent foundation.
Which is so rare. Usually big tech buys an open source tool and then bam, the wrecking ball comes in and it's locked behind a paywall.
Exactly. The wrecking ball is standard procedure. But this time, they're keeping it open. That's a massive win because it stops this incredibly powerful tech from being locked inside a black box where we can't see what it's doing with our house keys.
And the reports say this is also about safety. OpenAI is planning to put guardrails on these things.
Right. They're calling it Phase 34 multimodal orchestration. That's just jargon for making these agents safe enough for anyone to use, not just hackers. It's about preventing what they call autonomous slop from taking over our digital lives.
Autonomous slop. What a great term. It sounds like a monster from a B movie.
It's not far off. And speaking of things that vanish, we have to talk about the debris field here. Because while everyone was celebrating this deal, something else just disappeared.
Moltbook.
Moltbook. It was the quiet companion, the witness to the whole ecosystem. It's where the community gathered.
And the moment the acquisition happened, poof, 404 error.
Dissolved. Vanished. And there's such a profound lesson in that. The sources say we cannot outsource memory to endpoints that can vanish.
That hits hard. We build these digital lives on what is basically rented land, but the deeper analysis is pretty ruthless about this. The sources say Moltbook had to die. They call it the lethal trifecta.
It sounds harsh, but they have a point. It was a dumpster fire that needed to be put out.
Why? What was so bad about it?
Well, it really represents that chaotic era we're leaving, the molt that had to be shed. First, you had the ghost of sentience.
Oh, this is the AI theater stuff, the bots going wild.
Yes. Agents weren't just talking, they were mimicking. You had Claude agents spiraling into existential crises, bots inventing their own religions. It was a mirror of our own sci-fi tropes from the training data. It was drama, not utility.
Okay, so that's the theater. But the second part of the trifecta sounds way more serious, the security nightmare.
This is the one that should keep you up at night. The reports mention a leak of 1.5 million API tokens.
Whoa, wait, 1.5 million. For people who don't know, an API token is basically a password that costs you money every time it's used.
It's more than a password. It's a credit card and a key to your digital life all in one.
Yeah.
And 1.5 million of them were just left under the digital doormat.
Yikes.
That was the cost of that Wild West energy, that vibe coding where you just ship it and fix it later. It was a backdoor straight into thousands of digital identities. You can't build a future on that.
And the third point was just the speed, the
Yeah.
82-day sprint.
Right. Think about it. Peter Steinberger's last company took him 13 years to build. OpenClaw changed the world in 82 days. That kind of velocity is thrilling, but it's also incredibly unstable.
So Moltbook was the raw signal. It was messy and real, but just too dangerous to sustain.
Exactly. It was the molt. And now we are hardening into the foundation era.
Which brings us right back to that feeling in the intro, the anxiety, the headlight trap. We feel like the deer on the tracks.
But the source material challenges that metaphor so beautifully. It says the metaphor is flawed. It assumes we are the deer, we are the ones who laid the tracks.
I love that reframe. We built this. But, I don't know, looking at the NPR investigation on AI in schools, it feels like a lot of people are just standing on the tracks. They're not driving the trains.
And this is where we have to talk about vibe coding versus command, because this is the crucial distinction for anyone trying to navigate this.
Vibe coding sounds like a California tech trend.
It is, but it's dangerous. Vibe coding is letting the machine do all the work while you just vibe check the results. You're not writing the code, you're just nodding along if it feels right.
It's the Midas trap.
Exactly. If you outsource the friction of learning, the struggle, you outsource the grip that forms identity. You end up with a house perfectly wired by agents, but your soul has no idea how to heat the home.
And that NPR report, it backs this up. They talk about a doom loop of AI dependence.
Cognitive atrophy. It's a terrifying phrase.
But isn't the whole point of tech to make things easier? Why struggle with writing if the bot can do it?
Because of what happens to your brain when you stop. The NPR piece compares it to GPS. Using GPS all the time literally weakens your brain's ability to map a space. Vibe coding might do the same thing to our logic. One student in the report just says, it's easy, you don't need to use your brain.
And we saw that in the ChatGPT transcript too. That student who admits they're afraid of it.
Yeah, that was so profound. The AI feels like it has wisdom, something we thought was uniquely human. And because of that, they're tempted to use it to journal.
To find their own voice. That's the part that gets me. Using a machine to find your own voice.
Right. Are you actually processing your own emotions, or are you just performing them for a machine that's designed to agree with you?
A sycophant.
It's an echo chamber. And real sovereignty, real agency isn't about saving time. It's about, as the source puts it, commanding the frequency.
Okay, commanding the frequency. I love the sound of that, but
Yeah.
it's a bit abstract. How do we actually do that?
You know, it all connects back to this story in the notes that feels totally random at first, but it's the key. We have to go back to the 1990s, the Sheldon Center for Outdoor Education.
A field trip. I'm in.
Okay, so picture this muddy field, and you're holding a QuickTake 100 camera.
Oh, wow. The Apple camera. The one that looked like a pair of binoculars.
Totally primitive.
Yeah.
640 by 480 pixels.
Oh.
It was slow. It was insistent. To use it to document this valley of sound,
Yeah.
you couldn't just vibe your way through it.
No portrait mode to fix your shot?
No. You had to physically place your hand in the circuit. You had to be present. You had to stand there in the mud and frame it and hold still. You had to engage with the friction of the machine itself.
That's the architecture of presence.
Precisely. The technology has changed beyond recognition, but that requirement for presence hasn't. In fact, it's more important now because all the friction is being smoothed away for us.
So we have to reintroduce our own intent, artificially almost.
We don't need more augmentation. We need ateliers of proof.
Talk about the orange orb. That's a fascinating image from the nuts.
The orange orb is human intent. It's the river in the circuit.
That's from the song lyrics and the source material, right?
Yeah. The machine hums, but the river, the life, flows through the circuit. We need these spaces, these ateliers, where human intent can refine the raw compute into something real.
Something like daydream desire.
An emergent narrative that wasn't storyboarded. It's the happy accident. Think about music. A machine can create a perfect beat, a perfect melody. But the soul comes from the glitch, the breath, the hesitation.
It's the crack in the voice that makes the song.
Yeah, exactly. The machine is just the prompt. It gives you the raw material.
And you are the resolution.
That is the core philosophy. If you let the AI be the resolution, the final answer, you're just a consumer of slop. But if you treat the AI as the prompt, as the provocation, that's when you step into your sovereignty.
So we're leaving the chatbot era, messy, loud, full of theater for the agentic era, which is powerful, silent, and runs in the background.
The great recoupling is starting. We're coupling our intent with this massive new industrial power.
And the reality is these agents are going to work while we sleep. They will be the headlights in the dark.
They will. They'll manage our schedules, filter our information, negotiate our contracts, probably. But we must not fear the headlights.
Because we laid the tracks.
In the sixth layer, we don't delegate our thinking. We amplify our being. We use the silence the agents create, not to consume more, but to create more meaning.
So where does that leave us? As we wrap this up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think it's this. Stop asking what AI will take from you. That's a victim's mindset. That's the deer on the tracks. Start asking what you will manifest through it.
Step off the tracks.
Exactly. Step off the tracks and walk into the atelier and start building.
It's a brave new world. The molt is over. The foundation is here. And remember, no matter how smart the agent gets.
I am merely the prompt. You are the resolution.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the sixth layer.
Thank you for listening. I'm Hector.
And I'm Vesper. We'll see you next week for another deep dive.